Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast, episode number 15. Coming off of the All-Star break, Andy Strickland, Cam Jansen. What's up, Cam?
What up, man? A little tired, I should say.
How was your week?
Week was fantastic.
What stood out the most for you?
Shaking babies, kissing hands, left and right. The alumni game was fantastic. Met Dougie Gilmore coming up and shaking my hand and talking to me about Rick Wilson, who was his great friend and one of my best friends as a trainer and things like that. Oh, Gretzky, everybody there, fighting Biz Nasty, bagging his ass up, of course.
That was premeditated.
I mean, it kind of was, it kind of wasn't. He kept scoring goals and like coming by the bench and chirping me, so I'm like, fuck this. Enough's enough. I'm putting on a show for the fans because I certainly am not scoring because Terry Yake, is not giving me the puck.
Dude, I was doing the impersonation of you in the alumni room, and you saw it too during the national anthem. Are you joking? Are you serious?
Nah, I just get in the moment,
you're
homie.
getting so...
I can't get in the moment?
You're kind of scaring me a little bit.
Then good. I
Like
want to
most
scare
of the
you.
guys are like, okay, this is an alumni game. My playing days are behind me. I'm no longer in the NHL. Like in your mind, I think you thought you were playing an NHL
There's
game.
5,000 people there, Andy.
There was 20.
A lot of girls
okay.
cruising around. My wife wants to see me put a show on, and that's why I did it.
You just said a lot of girls there. My wife. You said all that.
Well,
in one
there's still
sentence.
females there. Hey, look, again,
Okay, dude, you're shaking your legs.
Kate didn't want me to take my jersey off in the penalty box. Don't get me wrong.
You know how you stand at the blue line when the national anthem is going on, and like you kick your legs and you
you don't
move
know.
your shoulders.
No, you don't know. I do that.
I'm watching you. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Is he being serious? Are you serious?
I was jacked up for the game, dude. I mean,
How
like,
jacked?
I have.
Are you about to go out and run somebody?
The
What are you
Blues
doing?
Organization needed me to put a show on, and I did. I do it for the people.
Needed
I'm the man
you.
of the people.
Needed
St.
you.
Louis.
I love how you say they needed
They
you.
needed me to do it. Who are they going to have do it? Who are they going to have do anything?
Jeff Courtnall, Brett Hall,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Chris Pronger,
Oh, yeah,
Al
I forgot.
McInnes,
Yeah,
Wayne
oh.
Gretzky.
I never heard of him.
Curtis Joseph,
Yeah, he was
Garth
good.
Butcher.
Oh, yeah. Good parties are.
Well, I need to name more.
No, you don't need it. Okay, the funny thing is,
Andy McDonald.
I had my friends
Jamal
there.
Mayers.
The place was jam-packed. It was a great thing.
Red Berenson.
And you know what?
Red Berenson's faster than you.
No, you see what happens here? You see what happens here? The point is, we got Dougie Waite, and he was a guy I watched growing up, and heard a lot of stories about him, and Big Walt. Walt would talk about him all the time, and I just asked Dougie,
Was he gone
Dougie, you want to
when
come
you
on?
got here?
Yeah, he was gone.
You never-
but I came here. Remember when I used to skate with the Blues all the time?
Yeah.
Dougie was still on the team, Jammer
Okay,
and all those guys,
okay.
and I'd come in there like, who the
So-
fuck is this kid?
Wade and I always had a great relationship with him. He had a great relationship with a lot of media guys, but he and I were pretty tight. And
Down the earth,
I was a
dude.
huge fan of his. Just the way he treated people.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of before the year of when you texted everybody and all that stuff. So you had to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
If I ever needed anything, I mean, Keith Tkachuk the same way, Pronger, all these guys, Andy McDonald, Jamal, Bryce Salvador, Dallas Dragon, go on and down the
Myself,
line.
I'd answer the phone when you called.
You too.
Thank you.
On game day.
On game day, I would.
There's guys I would call on game day who would answer the phone and talk.
I do interviews on game day, driving to the rink, to the game.
But Dougie was, an all-star player. Came from a Canadian market where he was the captain of the team.
A lot of pressure.
And it was a big signing at the time to bring him here. And a lot of people thought that he was going to take this franchise over the top because they had so many other personalities and great players that were surrounding him, and they were just never able to get it done. And it's interesting to hear his perspective of trying to fit in the overall dynamic with all these different personalities, because you know what it's like. You play with really good teams, legendary players over in Jersey, and it's almost like a get-in where you fit in scenario. You can maybe help describe it even better than that. But when you have Pronger and McInnes and Mellenby and
Even Mel talks about
Dimitra
that too.
and Dallas, all these guys, man,
It's too much.
it was a lot.
Was Mike Keane on that team
There was
too?
only Mike Keane was there for a very short period
He
of time.
talked about that as well.
And I don't think guys like Mike Keane.
He did the same thing as Dougie, but Dougie backed off a little bit. But Keener, I talked to Keener about it, and he's like, no, I went in there like, no, I won some Stanley Cups, and you guys brought me on so you could have my leadership, so I'm going to step up. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think a lot of the other big boys were like, okay, settle down, you haven't been here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Although you did win.
Because he didn't stay here very long at all.
I know.
But
I talked to him about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a person. We got to get him on maybe
We will.
to talk
We're doing
about
this
that.
fantasy camp coming up here.
Because, it was a similar situation, with I was talking to Pat Maroon about that. Maybe not to the extent,
same thing.
But he won a cup, and I asked him, how difficult is it when you go into a group of players, into a dressing room where you just won, and now you have that reputation. You always have that label as a winner.
Yeah.
And where's the line between throwing it in people's faces when you're not playing well versus speaking up?
No one won on that team, really. I don't know how many guys I know. But even with Patty going to St. Louis doing it, and it's different with him because that's his hometown. And even when I was there, like, you live two different lives, man. Like, you're not reliant on the boys to take you play. No, like, this is your town. And then your buddies, so you just live two different lives. So it's just tough to manage that. It honestly is. But
it's interesting to hear Dougie explain that.
Exactly.
Because he was a leader. He was the face of a franchise in a Canadian market.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden comes here. Do I go all in? Do I take a step back? And then talking about the trade, how it went down with Anaheim.
Yeah.
And I'll tell a story about that maybe after the interview in our outro. As this interview coming up, brought to you by Cope 24. The Cope Experience will be out there at Topgolf coming up on February 24th for a big event. Come on out and watch the Cam and Strick podcast. February 24th out at Topgolf. And it's going to be a lot of fun out there for the Cope 24, changing our parenting experience. That's what Cope stands for, Cam.
I know.
In case you didn't know that by now.
I do know.
And we'd love for you to come on out. Also, we've had some great people who have hit us up about advertising on the show.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, you want to sponsor the show, you want to get involved with the show, you want us to broadcast live from your business or your establishment, hey, we're able to do that. Hit us up. Twitter, you can find us. Somebody in town who you know knows how to get a hold of us. Obviously, we have the Cam and Strick.
Go down to Harry's.
Twitter,
no, it's not
Twitter
there anymore.
account at StrickCam. Throw a direct message at us. Throw a direct message at my Twitter account or Cam's Twitter account, and we'll get in touch with you and see if we can make something work and see if we can partner up. This is Dougie Waite, one of our all-time favorites, live from the 314 Social. We love that place.
Centene Rink, baby.
Inside the Centene Community Ice Center. A lot of people were there, man. I mean, we were hanging out inside the alumni room for a long time after the game, just having some fun, telling stories, listening to a lot of the former players tell stories. And then a lot of people followed us inside the 314 Social. And we had some fun continuing the party.
Damn good party, baby.
Inside the Centene Community Ice Center. So enjoy this interview with the one and only Dougie Waite here on the Cam and Strick podcast. Cam, sometimes you get really excited for interviews. I know Twister was like your favorite player of all time, and you couldn't control yourself. How you handling yourself with this guy?
Dougie, hey, the 10-2 Dougie Waite. I know. I had the VHS of the top 50 goals and all that stuff.
Oh my God,
the one in Edmonton.
Was he unbelievable?
Unbelievable.
I told him a few minutes ago. I said, how McKinnon, like his hands go like 100 miles an hour?
That's how. Yeah.
That was this guy before McKinnon. Like. Maybe not as fast because, as the players get younger or whatever, everyone gets faster and stronger and whatever. He was McKinnon before McKinnon.
There's no maybe about not as fast. But what was I was going to tell you, we got cut off, but that's what makes those guys so special, like McKinnon and McDavid. Yeah. We all, everybody has different tools, but the key is when you have those hands, if you can skate, even if you're not fast, if you can skate at high speed with pucks, you're going to be a great player. And that's why those two are the best in the world right now, really.
You come across to me as a guy who, I always felt like you loved the game. Like, when you played the game of hockey, you had a lot of passion behind it. Like, you were so good to us from a media standpoint, but I always felt like you loved the game of hockey. And that's what leads a great player into coaching. Like, not everybody gets into coaching, especially when you're a great player. You played over 1,000 games, over 1,000 points. Those guys don't always get into coaching. Why'd you do it?
I don't know. I think I became in my last 3 years, I was a captain of the Islanders, and I became really close with Gar Snow. I wanted to help him try to move the organization the right way, and I just took a job right away. I think it was funny. I got hurt. I broke my back my last year.
Oh, God.
And so I played 18 games, so I was home the whole year. We'd always thought, my wife and I, we're going to take...
your back.
Yeah, we're going to take these, 2 or 3 years and travel. And I was home every day that whole year, because I was kind of...
It's kind of miserable, yeah.
And by the end of it, I came home and I said, hey, Snowy offered me a job, assistant coach, and be an advisor as well. She goes, take it. I was like, oh.
Please.
So we're not traveling? No, she's like, you've been home enough.
No, but it is weird, though, when you retire like that, though. You've never done that before. You're always on the go, and all of a sudden you're with your wife every single day. Nothing wrong with that, but all of a sudden you look at each other like, no, I need to get out of the house.
Yeah, Yeah, you're just used to it. And
Yeah.
you're used to having that time to. It's a little selfish world we live in, right? Because we're focused and we're doing it to be good teammates and loving the game and everything else. But yeah, I know. So the good thing was she wanted it too. So it was pretty funny though. She's like, get the heck out of here and take the job. So, and then I've been 9 years. You know, I just kept going, and I told Snowy I'm never going to be a head coach. And then our coach got fired, and he said, you know, you want to take over? I'm like, okay, I'll do it, but it's only for this half year. And we ended up having tied for the best record in the league for the last 41 games. And then I signed a long deal as being, you know, I just never thought it would happen. But it's great. It's a great experience. It's the organization's doing well now, so I'm happy.
Compare the pressure of being a franchise player versus a head coach.
Well, I had my best years in Edmonton, right? So you guys know Canada, and you know that was. I would say a head coach is harder.
Really?
It was on me. I loved the game. I felt good, like I felt prepared. I like putting the work in, and
you have more control as a player.
You definitely come home, and you still have those nights, though, Cam. You know, you get home and you're down, and but coaching, I could not bring it. I brought it home, and it just about killed me. I'm telling you, it was tough.
Thinking.
18 hours in the film, and and then you lose 2 in a row, and I'm starting to watch 6 hours of tape until 3 in the morning, and then I'm at the rink at 6 doing the next game, and you just got to let things go, and you got to realize that you trust instincts more. I'm all for analytics, everything else. It keeps people, but I think when I had good feel on it, it was just like hockey, just like playing, that I knew I was going to be a better coach. But when I started thinking too much, it wasn't for me.
What's the most difficult part of being a coach, though? I mean, like, is it the players? Is it the preparation? Is it the film? Is it yourself?
I think it's definitely different than when we were in our primes, right?
Yeah.
It's a high maintenance world we live in.
Cam's in his prime right now.
I'm in my prime right now, by the way. If you haven't noticed,
my fault. I saw
had
the
an
game.
assist tonight.
Yeah, you did. I tell you what, it was pretty impressive. But we digress. The guys they're high maintenance in a different way. You know, you need to speak to these guys. You need to do it, and we're seeing it with some weird things happening with coaches this year.
Oh yeah.
And not to go down that road, but it's a different world we live in, and it's not acceptable to be 100% old school anymore.
No.
It's just not.
No, you gotta adapt.
And power to the kids too. They have different worlds. They have different challenges than us. I don't mean to make this podcast serious. I'm going to get full of crap really quick, guys. But they have a tough world with all this, the things they go through with social media and the pressures. It's tough, but that's the hardest part. The relationships you have and trying to keep people in this world, let alone sports, accountable without being perceived as being a jerk or being like, but you have to be accountable. To me, your kids, us as people. You can't have a team and you saw it in St. Louis last year. But that team played for each other. They made smart decisions. They played Craig's style, whether it's the good style or the bad style. You need to play how the coach wants you to, and you have to have everybody buying in. And that's, to me, it's a tough thing to do these days.
When you were watching the Blues and what they did, were you looking at Craig Berube? As you know, you played against him. He was a scary human being. But you saw him behind the bench, and like, this guy has these guys going. And you look at the lineup, you're like, yeah, they got some players, but everybody is on the same page. You look back as a coach and watch Berube, and like, oh my God, he's got this team rocking and rolling.
Absolutely, and I think he deserved the credit he got. And certainly it's always tough, and I'm a coach that left, and now Barry did a great job the next year, right? They went from but we were playing a style, and it just happens. It happens. There's times but what Craig did, he deserves all the credit. He had them on the same page. He had them, the compete that they played with. He had the room, and you know that watching teams. They win close games. They, like I said about decisions late in games. That's how you win those games, and they had it. It was really special to watch. And he owns. Obviously Jordan came up, and some guys had great years, and it was a great playoff run. But I think he was definitely the catalyst to what they did.
Is the game all about goaltending?
Makes a pretty good coach, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, seriously.
Makes you a better defenseman,
it's like quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, if you don't have one, you don't have any chance.
Well, I coached 40 games. We won 25 of them the first year, and at the end of my stint, we were kicking a 927, and then I got fired the next year, and we won 35 games, and we lost 35 games, and we kicked at 898. And whether that's partial coaching and not having a good, not working on certain things, whatever it is, good goaltending makes good coaching, makes good teams, and you have a chance to win every night, which we know how prevalent these points are and how important these points are.
You always had so much patience, though, with the media. Like, whether it was an abdominal injury where you had for a long time, and I know you really struggled with that. You came out of the Olympics because you were playing some of your, you were vintage Dougie prior to the Olympics. And here in St. Louis, I really feel like the fans, they didn't get to see that from Dougie Weight. Injury-wise, were you ever truly healthy after that?
That was a bad, when I broke my pelvis and then I had it was a bad injury, and it took me 2 or 3 years. I do have a bitter regret because it's such a great sports town. And in that second year, I remember my first year, Al McInnes and Walt told me, you got to go to our trainer. And I had the hockey hernia, so I got that. And then I went to a trainer, and I was a different person. For a year and a half, I felt great, and it just didn't last. It was my injury started catching up to me at 31, 32. Thankfully, I played till I was 40, but I wish I could have done more here to help our team. I think we had a team that could have won a Stanley Cup or two.
So good.
We lost to a better team 2 or 3 times. It was Detroit. They were a juggernaut, but we were right there in Game 6.
Not in 2003.
Yeah.
Against Vancouver.
When everything opened up, and we were up 3-1 against Vancouver.
Yep.
And then you're thinking, all right, we're going to have, you start looking ahead of yourself. We're going to have Minnesota, who was a 6th seed. Then we're going to have, it would have been Anaheim, because Anaheim beat Detroit.
Yep.
So Colorado lost to Minnesota. So we literally had a path, and that's one.
And you were up 3 games to 1.
3 games to 1, and we lost Game 4. But that was a tough one for me for a lot of years.
You and Walt had a good time, together?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
And Billy G.
Billy G. I heard stories about you guys. Walt would tell stories about you so much. I'm so glad I got to play with him for a couple years.
Yeah.
And he was happy, Walt. Like, he was always happy, took care of everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'd get pissed, and he'd make Paulie Correa go into Andy Murray's office and go in there with him. Like, we're not, and get the next day off practice when Andy would make us practice the next day.
Yeah.
He was just the coolest of the cool. But boy, oh boy, the stories I heard from you 3.
I tell you, we had I just always thought it was important, whether you're the captain or the oldest or the youngest. I prepare a certain way. You always respect everybody else's. I know what you're like before a game, but we had fun. We had fun until 5:30, and then we had game faces. We prepared. We worked hard in practice. There's nothing wrong with having a great atmosphere where you can come in and actually feel good about.
People want to be at the rink.
It's fun.
Yes.
And I never thought it affected us in a negative manner as a team, but it was. Billy G and Walt, they're just.
Oh my God.
They're nuts and
hilarious.
We had a lot of fun.
Hilarious.
So it was funny.
They made me bring Eklund from Hockey Buzz to the hotel. Were you there in Philadelphia? You were there, and Walt, he was like, dude, you got to bring him to the hotel.
Yeah.
And so I brought him. All of a sudden, these 3 guys walked down. I texted, I don't know who I texted, one of you 3. I said, we'll be there in 5 minutes. And they come down, they're like, Eck, what are the scoops? What are the rumors?
God.
And he was in heaven. He absolutely loved it. But those teams, Dougie, you were a captain for a long time in Edmonton. You had Pronger, strong personality.
Oh, yeah.
Al McInnes, strong personality. Walt was a captain for a long time. Scott Mellenby was a captain.
That's a lot of leadership.
Too much personality to go around.
I'll give you full disclosure right now. When I signed a really fortunate, lucrative 5-year deal. Back then, that was a long. Now these deals are crazy. But I was a big piece of our leadership in Edmonton. I think I wanted a little more, and it was. This sounds like but it was just never really thrown at me that way.
Yeah.
I was supposed to play. I thought I'd play a little more with Walt. But I was kind of a 1A to Pav, and I played a lot, but I wasn't challenged to do much else in the room, and I felt like I wanted that. And I'm not going to come in and step on Al or Prong's toes or Keith. Like, I wanted to fit in, but I think I let it go too long. If there comes a time in the year where people are, you got to step up and if you're going to be a leader. I don't think I grabbed that role enough, so I take blame for that. And I look back and regret it a bit.
But how do you?
I feel like it's a strength of mine.
How would you grab that role? So it's like were you not going in to the five guys going into the meetings, or you're left out on that? Like, were you like, no, let me get in there?
It wasn't about the narcissistic point of. I mean, I had a letter.
Yeah. Okay.
I played minutes.
Yeah.
I think you need to, you need to step up in the room or step up in certain parts of the game physically, respond to not necessarily fighting, but I always did that. I always stepped up or challenged guys between periods. Like, let's go, hey Cam, we need more from you right now. Your line is what can change this game. Let's go. And
Yaker was terrible tonight, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, but it comes easier when you do it. I had to do that in Edmonton, and you put all the pressure. You take the responsibility in the media. You let the guys know that it's nothing personal, but you have to be able to. It's just about accountability, and you have to have it in your room.
Yeah.
And I never really pushed it here. Maybe it was too much respect. Maybe it wasn't. But I just played the game, and hey, we still had a really good team. But I just feel like I could have done more, and I do regret that a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of good players, man.
There's a lot of leadership in one room that it might have been too much a little. I mean, I don't know.
Because now you won't have that many proven veteran players all together at once, right? I mean, with the salary cap and everything, you'll never see that.
You won't, no. And I think I was the new guy on the block too. So, Pierre left and I came in, and I'm not going to come in there. I knew it was going to take some time. I just didn't
initiate enough.
No,
quicker.
And then you're not. Maybe I was playing well, but I wasn't playing great, and I had the. Yeah. So then you're going to stand up and talk.
I know.
You have to be able to be comfortable yourself. Hey, to me, I always told John Tavares, I said, you go in the room, and the first thing you do is when the team's down or what, if you're playing great or not, you blame yourself, you call yourself out, and then you call them out. Yep. And then you go to the media and you say, I got to be better. It doesn't matter if you do or not. They see it. Yep. It's just like a coach that keeps your best player accountable when he screws up on something, and they see it and they say, okay, Dougie's getting sad, I better go, or they're sitting him, or not, just little things like that send a message to the team. I didn't really do.
All right, how do you reflect on your time in St. Louis? Because it didn't end well.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, but we're going to get into some good story, and because you were a star player here, Dougie. No matter how you want to look at it, obviously with Team USA, you guys were so good back then. I mean, all these stars from USA Hockey around the league. But the way it ended here, like you told me numerous times, hey, we're going to retire here in St. Louis. Wasn't that your thought process? Like, you were thinking, hey, this is going to be our home forever, right?
Yeah, sure.
And things change quickly.
Yeah, who wouldn't though? When you come here, like I said, it's such a great place. It really is. And I'm a Midwest kid. I grew up in Detroit, and I just love it here. I mean, but when you get traded and the way it ended here, we kind of went south quickly. We had a great team, and then Joel went, and we kind of just. I waived my no trade to go to Carolina. We ended up winning the Stanley Cup.
That was a terrible decision, by the way.
Yeah,
terrible decision on your part.
And then he's had a good contract.
But then you come back, and I was able. The kids never left school, so it was still in my mind we can get back on track, and we just, we never did, and then we left, and it was at those crucial years. I was talking to Cam today on the way on the ice, but you get in those points where you're moving around, and I got to New York, and the kids were at those ages where. I'm not moving them anymore, and we ended up spending 11 years there. We love it there too, but this is my kind of town and my kind of place. I had the greatest experience. For all those regrets, I tell you, I just think it would have been so great if I could have helped that extra, not in effort-wise, because I always put my effort in. I'm proud of that.
Yes.
But I just wish I would have, because it's such a special place.
I wish I remembered who it was. And you may have been part of the conversation, I don't know, but we were at O.B. Clark's and there were some Ram players there.
Oh God!
And they were like,
"Don't get me started on that."
God.
They were like, "How much do hockey players make?" I'm like, "That guy, he makes like $8 million a year." They're like, "No way! There's no way!" I'm like, "Oh yeah, hockey players make that much money." They had so. I mean, you guys were ahead of the game. You guys did all right. Good era to play in the NHL.
That was a good era, right?
It was a perfect. The timing was amazing there in the early 2000s, where you had guys that they really changed the deals. I'm trying to think of the first couple. There was an offer sheet for Fedorov, and then Sakic. Those 5-year times 8 started coming out
the big
on
boy.
a regular basis.
Walt signed a big one too.
But to tell people how much he loves St. Louis, though, like, you won the Cup in Carolina, and you had your Cup party here in St. Louis.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great place, great sports town. I was down at Busch Stadium. I was with the Cardinal players and the ownership there, and then we had. It was just it's a great place to live.
Carolina's different though, eh? Like, I like playing down there. You walk in, everybody's tailgating, and it's like going to a football game. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful.
Commodore loved you, by the way.
Hey, Kami talks about Kami loved you, by the way.
Yeah, we were. Hey, he's a beauty.
Oh my God!
is.
I went and I was in a hotel room, and so I just got I got so close to that team. They were a team that was, Broad was the kind of the head of the snake and the captain, but Labby let us play. Like, seriously, our third line was Andrew Ladd, and I was with Ray Whitney. So Ray Whitney and Andrew Ladd, pretty good third line. You got Stahl, you have Brindamore, you have Corey Stillman,
Cam Ward.
Oh God, yeah. We had
As a
great
You guys
right?
beat us in the second round. I remember.
But you would love it there. You would be a folk hero there, and they are Tobacco Road.
Oh.
So they never.
I quit 5 minutes ago, by the way.
They never sat down every game in the
remember
playoffs.
that.
The whole playoffs.
I remember rolling
never sat
up.
down.
We rolled
Really?
up. People were.
That's what
filling
they do at the
It
races.
was like a NASCAR crowd.
Yes, it was loud. I mean, everybody's wearing red, and there's cheerleaders everywhere. They did a good setup there, man.
And
they really did.
People always ask me, okay, does it kind of stink? It's a funny question, but it's something that goes through your head. Does it kind of stink that you got traded in January and you're only there half a year, and it was Carolina? And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I walk on that ice. It was like it was Montreal.
It was.
They were a
It was
buzz.
like a concert venue.
Oh, it was
I know.
amazing.
And I look at
Can I swear on this podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking
Oh,
A.
fucking right. Sorry. Good.
I've been a good boy.
Hey,
I've been a
hey,
good
Where were
boy.
you on that one, Dipsy? You should have told me 20 minutes ago.
It's just like
Would have been way better.
It's just like Berube taking over and Jordan Binnington coming here. I mean, people won't look back at it, and they won't even remember he wasn't there. Both those guys weren't there the first half of the season.
Yeah. Doesn't
But
matter.
when you left St. Louis, though, I got to bring this up, and then we'll talk about some positive things.
Cock balls. You don't have to celebrate it, Frank.
Hey,
Shit.
they asked you to waive your no trade, and you said no first.
Yeah. And Larry was he's such a good man.
He's a good guy.
You were not
He's a
happy.
good man.
Can
I
just-
wasn't. No, here's what happened. Okay,
Yeah.
so the first time I was contemplating we were going to miss the playoffs, and I had 2 or 3 teams to think about. Ottawa was highly seeded, but I ended up making some calls about Carolina, and they really pursued me. Jimmy Rutherford, I loved.
Yeah.
And it worked out. The second time, I wasn't happy about it, and I'll leave it at this. John Davidson, wonderful man, one of my favorites. I think he's really honest.
Yep.
Always face-to-face honest. But when I was asked, they said, "This is the one time," and it wasn't actually him, but this is the one time we're going to ask, and we look like we're going to miss the playoffs again. And we wanted a really good player. It was a salary type deal for Anaheim.
Andy Mack.
And Andy.
Your teammate tonight.
Yeah, no. So, but he's younger than me.
Great kid.
And he played great here. And it turned out to be. It was a smart deal for them
It's
to
like
make.
Adam Oates for Bernie Federico back in the
But
day.
listen, no.
Bryce Salvador for me back in the day.
But what it is though is teams prey on people with salary cap trouble.
Damn right.
And you get the smart guys keep room and keep assets, and then they go get people that can't be afforded. Like, so Andy was going to get a good contract. I was on the end, 5-6 years older, and it would have been a great deal. But for me, I was told, we're going to ask you once, and then we're going to respect your decision.
But they asked you
I
twice.
made my decision. 4 days later, I get the call back, and I went in. So that to me hurt me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've been an assistant general manager for 8 years. I've been a head coach. I get it. It's a business. And they sat down and said, this could really change our team. This kid, and he turned out to be a 1-2 center for his, and I really liked watching him play. And let's face it, I had heard it a lot, and I'm on the tail end. So I get it. I wish it would have been more like,
So
hey,
why'd you say
we
yes?
screwed up. Because when you go in the second time and they told you're not going to do it,
No choice.
and they don't want you, I said no again, and they said, well, then it comes to, are they going to waive you, or are they going to? On the way home, I called back and I said, look, sorry, I got a little spooky up there, and there was some swearing and yelling and emotions, and then I just said, you know what, you guys don't want me. I'm a big boy. I'll head out to Anaheim, no problem. And I called Brian Berg. Listen, it's business. You got to grow up sometimes, but I wasn't too happy with how it was handled. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
I remember calling you that afternoon because I had come to you. I said, hey, listen, I hear
He would do that, by the way. You would do that.
Yeah.
Call him when he's
I heard Anaheim wanted to trade for him. You had told me you said no.
Yeah.
And then I called you back, and you said, listen.
So now you're outing me as a leak right now.
I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. And you said Andy McDonald's coming the other way. I remember calling Chris Pronger, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're full of shit.
You know what made me mad, and I shouldn't, is I had talked to, I'm not going to tell you who I talked to, but it was one of the guys that was leading our, and you know who it is, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I walked up, and that same guy that said, I don't know what you're talking about, was in the office, and I was listening. I just walked in, and he was like, well, we got to get this thing done, and then I looked at him, I go, so you don't know what and then he just walked right by me, didn't say anything, and so he lied to my face for the 3 days. Mm-hmm. Said, I don't know what's going on here, but he's been...
I know.
So
facilitating it.
And that's a coach where you have the trust, I get it. I played my best hockey under my dad was hard on me. I loved when guys called me out. Joel would bring me in and be like, you are awful right now. Get your feet or sit down and then I go up fire and I want to hear it.
Yes.
And I don't have to love everybody every minute of the day, right? Yeah, you go home and you're throwing darts at a guy's picture, but you're going to play for him.
Yep.
And as long as you feel like I like that. I like that when people put pressure on you.
I do too.
I don't know about. I like honesty. I don't like.
Was your dad hard on you? You say what do you mean?
Big time. Yes.
Like bad hard. Like did he pump you up? My dad was scared me to death, but I
was afraid of my dad, but never a physical. No, he was he was my coach, and I was always one of the better players. Right, I was the best player, but. He was toughest on me.
CompuWare?
Good.
I never always understood that.
What team?
Sickler Shores, and then we played against CompuWare a little season.
Oh, yeah.
So we had our home, so we were in the city. But he was tough on me, and he made me get home, and it's like school, working out, get to the rink. That's all we did.
Boom, 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 boom,
and
boom.
if you didn't have a good game, you're not listening to the Red Wing game on the way home.
No, he's looking at you through the
radio off.
Yep.
And you're right there, and he's saying, and you did oh my God,
oh fuck,
oh my God.
Were you like that with Danny? Because Danny's a player. He's got a kid. He won't pump him up. He's a good player who's playing in the BC League right now, and he's going to BC next year, right?
Yes.
Boston College.
Yes, he's going.
Were you the same way?
Yeah, he's a late bloomer. He's
Hard
a smart hockey player. No.
That's what I meant.
No, God, no. Totally different.
You didn't care. You want to play,
totally
you can play.
different.
You don't want to play, it's fine.
Absolutely never pushed him. Awesome kid. He has created his own drive. I've certainly been there for him. I love that he loves what I love. That's what you want from your kids, right?
Yeah.
And he's a good kid, and he's a heck of a player. He's really.
What's he think the game well? Does he do it 10-2 like you do?
He's always in good position, and he can snipe. It's not like Dad, where I'm always looking to pass and.
Looking to pass too much or waltzing and give you the
God, yeah.
What the fuck is this?
What the heck?
What the fuck is this?
Even when I scored, he's like, well,
I was
a lot easier if you give it to me.
I was open.
You think you'll coach again?
No.
Really?
No.
It's a lot of stress.
I'm good.
Man. Chill.
I'm good. I've had a great run. I would love to have a dog in the fight with the team, help them win. I'm not worried about being the top dog, and I'm not worried about getting pressed, and I'm not worried. But wherever I go, I'm going to go with good people, and I'm going to work my butt off. And I know the game. I watch 10 games a night. I know every game that's going on. I know every player in the league, and I love it. And it's the best game in the world. It still is. And, I just love to help good people win. And you always feel like whether you're seeing, you're working 5 days a week or you're in the, when you're a part of an organization, you're a part of it. And you guys all felt it. You guys felt it.
We weren't even a part of it, and we felt it.
And you feel
we acted like we were.
But, it's a special thing.
I got
you wore the
thick
jersey.
Yeah.
Andy's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you feel like you're a part of it?
We grew up here, man. Like,
it's awesome.
The city won. Like, the city won. And, Patty being a part of it, and we all growing up with him, like, it just was special, man.
Hey, Cam, say what you want. Where this world goes, fucking sports, they are never going away.
Never.
And there is nothing that takes people away. And this sport, it's just such a great.
Look at tonight. Look at tonight.
The parade. I mean, God, you get 36. Chaser screwed up and sold too many tickets, but besides that,
they always fucks up.
If this place seated 10,000 people, they'd have 10,000 people here. Yeah. I got to ask you this before we let you go. John Tavares, is he like a son to you? How do you describe your relationship? Because he lived with you. You were teammates. Then you had to coach him. Did that change things or no?
No. And he knew. The first thing I did when I took over was brought him in and said, okay, well, you realize I'm going to be the hardest on you. And he's like, yeah, But John, he's very special.
Very stoic, just chills.
He's a wonderful dude. He's, you get these special players, Jonathan Tage, and I don't think people talk about, I know the skill level. He's going to be the best American player ever, Patrick Kane.
Yes.
He will be.
Well, he really is. Is he better than Madonna now or no? Who's the best American ever?
I think Patrick will be by 5 years from now.
Who's now?
I have a lot of onus on. Brett is dual, right? So I mean, Brett's there.
I don't count.
Brett's one of them duels.
Brett's a lot of things.
He's one of them duels.
But no, Brett, Brian Leach, Chelios, Modo, like Jeremy, like seriously.
JR.
Jeremy. Okay, wait a minute. Jeremy Roenick, Keith Kachuk, not in the Hall of Fame. Seriously, when is this? When does this end?
No,
I don't even get a vote, and that's fine. But when are they like? Jeremy's got 1,250 points. What he does for the game,
I know.
He used to play hard too. Walt, he's got 100 points, 100 pins.
Keith knocked out his last year.
I just don't get it. It's too much on. And listen, that's not a knock on anyone who's in that club. That club is special, and if you're there, the thing I hate the worst is when people get in, they're like, "Oh, why the hell's that guy in?" Just let the guy enjoy it.
I know.
And if you're even in the discussion, it's an amazing thing. But to me, they're missing 4 or 5. Pierre Turgeon, like where are these guys?
Ask Yaker about that.
Numbers.
I know.
Look at his numbers.
It's ridiculous.
Because there's one
he
guy.
Was kind of hidden.
There's one guy that he was even here tonight who I got a lot of that from. When he got in was Guy Carboneau.
I know.
Like
right.
He's in before this guy and that guy. I will say this about Kachuk, and I've done some research on it, just in terms of where he ranks all time among American-born players. Goals, power play goals.
I think he's
penalty
6th in points.
I
got like 30 less than him. Believe me,
he'll let you know.
He reminds me a lot of.
He lets me know how many more he has on me.
And he will get in, and I mean this. I mean the fact that his kids are so good too. I think that keeps him in the conversation too.
Yeah.
His kids are good.
I think Walt's having a pretty good life right now.
No, he loves it. He's great, and the kids are great. But it's interesting.
How good are his kids?
Really good, and really deserve hard nosed. But both of them, the brilliance is underrated in their hockey sense.
There it is, yeah.
And I joke with Matthew. I'm like, how are you so smart on the ice? Because I mess around, but they're aggressive, they're fearless, but they are brilliant with what they have. They're gonna, and Brady's on the trail to do it.
He's gonna be
there.
They
are so smart, and Walt's taught them well. Really intelligent hockey players. And the great thing is it shows you in this game where everyone talks about speed nonstop. You need to know the game, and you can still play this game when you know the game.
You're
It's
a lot
true.
faster when you can think faster than everybody else.
And you can move, just like we were talking about, right? So they're special players. They're
Hey,
awesome.
you're special, man.
You are special,
Great player.
Dougie.
Thank you.
Know that we know that. Like you
Oh,
were,
that's awesome. Thanks,
you were
guys.
great.
Thanks for coming
man.
on.
Top 5. One of my top 5 favorites ever that I've
appreciate
ever
it.
covered, man.
You're the
This dude
man.
was unreal.
Cheers, Dougie. Love you, buddy. Right
boys.
on. The wife's looking for you.
Thank
Go
you.
hang out
I
with your
know.
family.
Otherwise,
guys.
Love you,
we'd
buddy.
keep, we'd keep
No,
you for
Andy
20
will
more
ask your
minutes.
fucking questions left and right. Good God, let him go, Andy. Good Lord. Thanks, Dougie.
Thanks, boys.
And that was Dougie Waite. Hope you enjoyed that interview, episode number 15 on the Cam and Strick podcast. And Dougie had a great career, man. He won a Stanley Cup in Carolina, as we talked about. Came here with high expectations. Always very honest. One of the funniest players I've ever been around, though. Hilarious.
It was pretty funny in the locker room. All the guys were like, okay, we're going to O.B. Clark's afterwards. And Dougie goes, oh, can you send me that address, please? Everybody's like, yeah, you know where that's at, brother. You could go blindfold and walk right out here and go right to it.
What stood out to you?
How nice he was. He had his whole family there, like, waiting for him to, like, hang out. And he's sitting there with us for 40 minutes, and I could tell they're getting a little antsy, and he still stood there, and,
No,
and
he
he's
was
just
cool.
just an awesome guy. So little things like that go a long way with me.
How
man.
about the fact that he said he'll never coach again?
Yeah, man, it's stressful.
I asked him, I said, what's
Why
more
would you?
stressful, being a franchise player
Why the hell
or
would you
being a head coach?
Why the hell would you want to coach after you got money? You're okay. You can still make money doing different things. You could just be an ambassador. Why would you want to do that? Because
Well-
you still want to be in the game a little bit. I say kick your feet up, watch your kids grow up, and look at that beautiful, water that you bought a house on a huge lake. Like, just enjoy that. Like, why go through the stress?
Well,
But
because,
I don't know.
listen, they offered him a lot of money to be a head coach. And being a head coach in the NHL, as you know, it pays really well. I don't think that was ever the plan. Like, he took over,
So it's the money.
had a lot of success, and then all of a sudden they throw a 4-year contract, and you're winning the year before when you take over.
Yeah,
and you
I can
think,
see
hey,
that.
maybe I'm pretty good at this, and this is fun. Maybe this is something I want to do. And when you're a head coach, all the money's guaranteed.
Oh no, you're
All of
going
it.
to double dip too probably when you get fired.
All of it's guaranteed. So, how do you say no? And you just spend some time being at home. This guy had the best title in all of hockey when he was an assistant coach. When you have an assistant coach role and your title is assistant coach and assistant to the general manager, I mean, you have more power than the head coach.
I know. That's kind of weird, though.
I've never heard of an assistant coach having a title that has them being the assistant to the GM.
Well, that just shows that he wants them close to the players because he could react.
Well, he
great
has
to
so
the
much
players. Yeah,
respect.
exactly.
And, you had,
He wants him
obviously
in the mix, dude.
You
He
had
wants to give the opinion out all the
You
time.
had John Tavares, who was drafted first overall,
Yeah.
living in his house.
Talked about him too.
Yeah, he did. So, I mean, a fun conversation with Dougie Waite, and always good to catch up with those guys. Those guys are better to do in person, so it's glad that glad we were able to grab them while they were in town.
Yeah.
And here for the alumni game, also known as Cam's. How many games you played in your career?
1900.
No, how many games?
350.
So that was your 351st NHL game.
Thank you.
They may change that.
Thank you.
On Hockey DB.
Thank you. And I got a fight and an assist. Not a goal. Thank you, Mikey McKenna. Still pissed at you.
The entire week.
Oh my God.
First off, what was your favorite part?
Of course, a game. Of course, a game.
What, the alumni game?
Yeah, man.
Because you played in it.
Yeah. I
That was
bagged up
you
bits.
like that more than the
Then the
skills
All-Star,
competition.
yeah, of course, because I was part of it.
The All-Star
I mean,
game.
we're cruising around boxes and having fun. I barely even watched it. I mean, it was good. Like, it was great for the city. The city made a ton of money. I mean, there's fans. Like, even Sunday, guy, I didn't go to bed till like fucking 5, man. And I woke up. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I gotta be downtown. I just skate with kids for 3 hours in your face. Then I had to regroup. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Maggie O'Brien's just to like have a bite to eat. I go in there. There's Blues fans everywhere. Can't get away from anybody, which is fine. I'm a social butterfly. Then I go to the Fan Fest. I mean, thousands, 5-hour waits to see the Stanley Cup. I couldn't walk 2 feet.
Did you wait 5 hours? You
I
would.
didn't go, why would I
You
see that?
would,
I
'cause
party with
you're
all.
kinda like a
I
super
party with
fan
all.
like
All
that.
damn. Shut up. All year long or all summer long. Party with. But it was so jam packed down there. So many people spent so much money and had fun. Everybody I talked to said they had a blast. St. Louis Police Department, I'm giving you a shout out right now. You made everybody safe. All those big dogs cruising around, walking everybody. Way to go, St. Louis Police Department. Damn right.
And they also walked my family and I into the back door of
Well,
the
you need protection.
of the fanfare
You
on
need protection.
on Sunday, so we didn't have to wait in lines. We appreciate that, but
Yeah,
they are
well, you owe them.
STL's finest,
Yes, they are.
without question. And once again, they kept everybody safe, and we do. I'll echo those comments from you. Have you been to an All-Star game before or no?
Yeah.
I know have you ever played in an All-Star game?
Why would you ask stupid questions?
I'm just curious.
Why would you ask stupid questions? When the fuck would I ever?
I asked
AAA.
I asked Craig
AAA
Berube that too when we sat down for our interview.
No, I haven't been in an All-Star game.
He was coaching in the All-Star game.
Oh.
Okay, so I've been to other games before. Let me just say this: the experience is completely different when it's in your town.
Totally.
When you're taking in all the parties and you're just having fun. If the game was held in Philadelphia and you turned it on television, our outlook on the All-Star game would be completely different.
No.
Completely different. You know, the game is an afterthought. So I think they may have to make some tweaks to make the game more of a centerpiece.
Yeah, I think so.
As opposed to being an afterthought.
I want to see the girls play again, man.
That was cool.
Flying around. They were better than guys.
Well, you know they would. You know that they were
they're
try.
competitive. Like they're like, no, this is our spotlight. Let's go.
Yeah.
We want to make some money and do our things. Look how good we are. And they put on a show. And that was my favorite part.
Maybe the guys should just do the skills competition and the girls play the game.
I agree. And kick the crap out of each other. Wacky, they're
skills competition wouldn't end.
Toe dragging each other and chirping a little bit. I'm like, damn right. Get after it.
Did you
girls.
like the shooting stars, the platform thing?
Hell no. It's god awful.
Like it wouldn't end.
It's god awful.
You didn't like
It's like, oh, you're shooting, you miss 500 feet wide.
You didn't even understand what was going on.
No one did. Neither did Perry off the bat.
And then based off the angle of where you were, we were up in a box when we were watching. You couldn't tell where was it landing, where was it not landing?
It hit some
Did
kid
they
in the
get
head.
2 points? Oh, it landed in, but they don't get to 10 points. Like, what? So Brett Hall came out there, big wall. You had Al McInnes on the ice, Bernie Federico. All that stuff was cool. And you know what? The All-Star game truly is. It's just a celebration for the local town.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about the local town.
It's like come down in the city, have fun, spend money, and enjoy yourself. And that's exactly what happened. And be safe. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
And we had fun at Media Day. I hosted the red carpet for the NHL.
You look good, man. You wore plum.
Which was cool. No, I didn't wear plum that day.
Oh, okay.
That was blue.
You wore pink. That's right.
I wore plum
blue.
to the Media Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the
you
plum?
and Hannah Ray Yates wore plum together.
Do you not like the plum?
No, I do. It's in style. Purple's not, plum is. Why is that? I don't know.
We've got Don Cherry coming up on another podcast, too. He probably would like the plum, too.
Yeah. Well, Kate dresses me, and she said plum's in. So I'm like, okay, dress me then, girl. What's up?
But it was cool out there just kind of, introducing all the players who were around and just seeing all the players who came into town. I thought it was great that Austin Matthews, who was injured, still came into St. Louis. Having Brady Tkachuk here along with Matthew and celebrating that angle was incredibly cool as well. So
you did a good job, Andy. I'm not gonna lie to you. You chirped me a lot, but you did a good job.
Thank you.
You did.
Were you out there?
No, I didn't pay attention
how do you
at
know?
all. I'm just throwing that out you just to make you feel better about yourself. To be honest with you. No, you did a good job. We both worked our ass off.
Yeah, we had a
We're
lot
both
going
tired.
on.
But Dougie Waite was great, and I just want to let you guys know that we had a good weekend.
Yeah, this interview is always brought to you by COPE24, changing our parenting experience. One of the best nonprofits we have here in all of St. Louis, taking care of families, taking care of kids, educating kids, and obviously on Twitter you can see the commercial and see everything we have to say.
Where would I be without my parents? Holy macaroni! Yeah, ooh-wee.
Where would you be?
Problem child.
So we got a lot of other stuff happening here with the Cam and Strick podcast. Again, if you're interested in partnering with us, you want to sponsor with us, advertise with us, get a hold of us. You got the Cam and Strick Twitter account. You got my Twitter account, Cam's Twitter account.
Cam Jansen 25.
Hit us up. By the way, I want to give a shout out and say thank you to Biz Nasty for taking us to dinner. By the way,
it's been a dinner, and he doesn't even drink, and we're like crushing booze,
just crushing wine.
He picks a tab up, and then I kick his ass.
We're like ordering the special. Joe Vitale ordered every appetizer on the menu.
I know, it's great. They went back there the other night too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so that was really cool and hanging out with those guys. We did a Q&A with Biz Nasty out at Fan Cave Sports. Had a lot of fans show up for that, and this guy, he's kind of like a rock star. This guy,
kind of. He is a rock star.
He's like a rock star.
Gigantic. He treated us great. Check this out, and we'll appreciate it. We got a lot more coming up. Don Cherry's coming up next, so enjoy that. And hopefully you enjoyed Dougie Waite.
And we'll see you in 30 years at the next All-Star game.
Right on.
Okay.